But I'm so tired. I'm so tired. This thing won't go to sleep. And the only thing I know how to do is make more videos to stay awake. Why did I have a second one?
Alright, so there was a request on what is Endgame really for PD2, or at least a guide on how to start it and do it. So let's start with the basics. You get through hell, you're doing bail runs, you've hit about level 85. While you're leveling, by the way, the best thing you can do is get skillers. They are expensive on the first, couple days there, but any money you have going towards skillers is generally not a bad idea, depending on your class. Obviously, your physical barb, you want max damage charms, and you can focus on your gear. But that's what you want to do. Endgame really starts with the maps, and you have tier 1s, you have tier 2s, and then you have tier 3s. I can't remember the level monsters for each one, but yeah, you have to be 80. You will not do well with low gear at level 80 on most classes. You want to start with the 1s, move into the 2s, move into the 3s. Now, you want to be clearing at a fairly decent pace. That's the best way to do things. It's better to run, 3 plain white maps over, 10 minutes each instead of spending an hour on a tier 3. Speaking of which, you can make these into rare maps. I eventually think they're going to take out the magic maps, like some of these rolled magic mods, which are pretty much useless. But if you go over to Anya, you can find little things like this. This one re-rolls a rare map, but there is an orb over there, which I'll might as well go show, that you can buy for like 150k gold that will upgrade a map to a rare map. You can also buy this one that'll upgrade the magic. So you can see, if you have a loot filter on, I'm using Kasahi. It'll tell you what you need to put in there. Jewel, normal map, rare. All right, there we go. And then you can upgrade it to one of these. Now, these will have mods on them that will increase your magic and gold find, which is really the big thing for a lot of mappers that don't have MF. And the next thing is the density. Now, the density is a little weird because they just changed it this season, but generally speaking, 100% density is going to be packed. I mean, I've run some couple 200s. The mods you want to look out for, and you can see you get negative mods on these as well. Negative resistance is pretty bad. Max life is like the one that really increases the difficulty, right? Because that's basically just ramping up the number of players. I won't go over all the bosses at every map because they are pretty straightforward. It's more of a gear check on these bosses. There's no mechanics or anything to them. So that's the fun part. What do we do after we're mapping? Is mapping just the only thing? No, there's the bossing. Now, these keys, which are in LOD and spawn the mini Ubers, are what you need to open up the Uber Tristram. So farming these over the bosses is annoying. Maybe on a Sork, it's a lot easier. You have to excuse me, I am so tired because the newborn is here. Diet Mountain Dew, the gamer fuel. It's like I'm 21 again. But farming on the actual bosses that drop these, I mean, Nithalak sucks. Countess sucks getting to unless you're Sork, and Blood Witch kind of sucks getting to. So does Summoner, really. And the drop rates are not great. One of the best things you can do is just run maps. There will be map events occasionally that drop keys. It'll say, hey, faint darkness keeps the darkness at bay. You click that tower and it spawns a bunch of ads that have a chance to drop up to 6 keys in a map. And you can get catalyst shards from the other event that will make a random map event pop up. Really, until you got enough runes to keep flipping keys, honestly, I think that's the best way to farm keys, which is sort of stupid. I wish they would just fix the drop rates on those back to being automatic. But you can buy a key set for about a Vex. Vex will get it really quick, 0.35, 0.4 high runes will get it eventually here. So when you get the Ubers, they have a chance. I don't even have a Black Soulstone here. Well, I'm not doing a bunch of graphics because I don't have the time. The Ubers can drop, obviously, the torches, and the torches are actually used in... There you go, there's like an unidentified torch. They're used in the Rathma recipe, which I'll show you in a minute, and they are, the other thing it will drop is a Black Soulstone sometimes. I think it's a 1 out of 8 drop chance. And a Black Soul Stone gets combined with a Prime Evil Soul. Those drop from Diablo, Baal, and Mephisto. Now, their drop rates are synchronized to how long they think it takes to farm them, so you can farm all 3 of those bosses. And if you're doing mapping and bossing, or bossing in general, you should be clearing those 3 every time you enter a game. It's just too much. It's too easy to make money doing that. I've gotten, several from Diablo and several from Baal and 1 from Mephisto. So, obviously random drop chance there. However, when you combine all those, you can do then Dclone, which I have a couple videos up on of this character doing Dclone. I actually just, by the way, on that note, you want for Dclone 90 fire res, because that is really the unavoidable damage. I just did it with 85, because I just switched out some gear, and I need a Raven Frost. I'm just going to use a Raven and deal with it. I'll get my fire res up later. But 85 fire res was doable in very, very decked out gear. So you don't think I need to hit 90. 88 was perfectly fine. I think, granted, I have like 2.1k life, and 85 was getting a little rough there, though. However, did get him down and got a bad Annie, and stupidly ID'd it. Forgot, don't ID the Annie. But either way, you can do that. Dclone will drop the Annies. That's sort of the end of that, gear drop chain, I guess. The torches, though, can be combined with splinters and jawbones, all right? This is about an ist, that's about an that's about what they're worth. So when you see the Mendelin events in the maps, these drop randomly from undead enemies. That's why when that event happens and there's a bunch of undead that spawn, it's a good chance to drop the splinter or the jawbone. So you combine those with a torch or a bonfire lit when you key a torch in your cube, and that will open up the Rathma event. And I don't actually have, I'm not going to burn that torch because I need to flip it for some keys. However, you put the item, either the Void Stone for Rathma or the Bloodstone for Diablo, and then you just hit transmute, and that will flip the tier difficulty. So when you do tier zeros are pretty easy. Tier zeros are like the baby version of it, but hey, they still drop the items, right? The Rathma drops the Twisted World Stone Shard to corrupt your Annihilus, and Dclone obviously drops the Annihilus itself. Tier 1 is like the old Dclone fight. I don't even know the point of having that in there anymore, other than like a little gear test before going to Tier 2s. Now, Tier 2s, you obviously get the auras for being one of the top 3 to complete them. However, you also get an aura for just doing it, which is what I'm heading towards. I just need to get better boots. I can't go into Tier 2 with anything really less than 90 fire res, I think. I think that's just asking to be punted, and honestly, with what's my life at, actually? Even with 2.1k life, that's going to be rough. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, but I do have a lot of damage. Anyway, that's all of the endgame stuff that you can do in PD2. You have the maps, go through your tiers, make sure you're upping them to rares. Oh, and I forgot, also, from the maps drop these little items. These are for the mini Uber Ancients. So when you combine all 3, you get this item, the Relic of the Ancients. And this fight, honestly, to me, is harder than the Ubers. Just is, and it will spawn. You can click the statues, and they'll turn gold. It'll be a little mini Ubers area of the Ancients, and you can click on 1 statue, 2 statues, 3 statues, and when you kill all of them, you get a bunch of gear that drops from the middle. However, just be aware, those are pretty rough. I think they are definitely harder than Ubers in general. The Ancients are just, they hit pretty hard, man. So that is, do I have a stack of items? I do. That is everything, really. That's your mapping for your endgame, 1, 2, 3. I'm not doing a boss guide, like I said. There's an old one out there that's still fairly relevant. You have your Ubers, or your Uber Diablo with your keys, farming up your keys, getting your Black Soul Stones from Ubers, getting your Prime Evil Souls from the bosses, and Pure Demonic Essence, I didn't even mention that, from the maps. They drop the map bosses. So you need all 3 of those things to make a Bloodstone. I'm not even sure what it's called. I haven't looked at it. Yeah, whatever. The Red Stone. And then you have your Rathma event too, which splinters, jawbones, and a torch. Alright? Informative, right? So actually, while I'm doing this, let's voice over. I've not gotten too far into Rathma. I'm still trying to figure that one out, but I can go over sort of the Dclone phases here. So let's pull up. All right, here we go. So we will sort of look at the Dclone fight, and I'll talk about it as we go. The Vision of Terror, not the Bloodstone. There we go. You're going to have a few moments to put on your battle orders or maybe get a couple minions out. Try not to stand in the fire like I am, but I had pretty good defensive stats. He will spawn the ads, right? So first set of ads are pretty easy. Just murk them down. That cold nova that he's doing, it does cold damage. It hurts a lot. You want to get behind this southern pillar here. If you're on Necro, it's a good time. I'm not doing it now, but spawning your blood golems up to try and get him distracted just a little bit. The second set of ads is going to contain some archers, which are your main priority, unless you're like me and you're just murking everything down. You got to keep avoiding him, but yep, get down the archers. He is immune during the ad phase. If the ads are up, he has that salvation aura under him. He cannot be hurt. Also, if you're far enough away from him, I believe it's like 10 meters, he's also immune. See, now his aura's disappeared and I go back to hitting him. He runs to the middle, there's the cold nova. Get behind the pillar. You kind of just have to eat the fire. There's sometimes invisible fire on the ground. If you see your health dropping, you're just going to have to spam the potions. You should also be refilling your belt at this time, which I'm not doing. And then I'm trying to do it in the middle of the fight because I'm not good. And there will be one more ad phase coming up, which will contain just a bunch more archers and mages now. They do poison damage, which my poison res isn't great, but I have a plague, so I don't really care. Now, again, you gotta just eat it. I pushed his health too far because I have poison damage, pushed the phase, and there were still ads out. That's not good. That'll probably get you killed on tier 2. See, I even walked in with mana potions. I need to prepare fully for this. The meteors on the ground also are going to do fire and physical damage, so why it's good to have a little bit of PDR, which is why Necro kind of stinks at this, at least me running the Innocents. And there you go. You get a bad Annie for all your hard work, which is why you should keep them unidentified and just flip them for more mats if you can do this consistently. Alright. See you guys later.